chapter 17. Thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord your God an ox, or a sheep, wherein is a blemish, even any evil thing, for that is an abomination unto the Lord your God. If there be found in the midst of you, within any of your gates, which the Lord your God gives you, man or woman, that does that which is evil in the sight of the Lord your God, in transgressing his covenant, and he hath gone and served other gods, and worshipped them, or the sun, or the moon, or any of the host of heaven, which I have commanded not, and it be told you, and you hear it, then shall you inquire diligently, and behold, if it be true, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Israel, then shall you bring forth that man or that woman who have done this evil thing unto your gates, even the man or the woman, and you shall stone them with stones, that they die. And at the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is to die be put to death. At the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. The hand of the witnesses shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hand of the people. So you shall put away the evil from the midst of you. If there arise a matter too hard for you in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, even matters of controversy within your gates, then shall you arise, and get you up into the place which the Lord your God shall choose, and you shall come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and you shall inquire, and they shall declare unto you the sentence of judgment. And you shall do according to the tenor of the sentence, which they shall declare unto you, from that place which the Lord shall choose. And you shall observe to do according to all that they shall teach you, according to the law which they shall teach you, and according to the judgments which they shall tell you, you shall do. You shall not turn aside from the sentence which they shall declare unto you, to the right hand or to the left. And a man that doth presumptuously in not hearkening unto the priest that standeth to minister there before the Lord your God, or unto the judge, even that man shall die. And you shall exterminate the evil from Israel, and all the people shall hear and fear, and do no more presumptuously. When you art come unto the land which the Lord your God gives you, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like all the nations that are round about me. You shall in any wise set him king over you, whom the Lord your God shall choose. One from among your brethren shall you set king over you. You mayest not put a foreigner over you, who is not your brother. Only he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord hath said unto you, you shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And it shall be, when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book, out of that which is before the priests the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes, to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment, to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children, in the midst of Israel. Okay, we'll go back to verse 1. God saying, Thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord your God an ox or a sheep, wherein is a blemish, even any evil thing, for this is an abomination to the Lord your God. God doesn't want us making sacrifices to him that have a blemish. Why? Because you're supposed to give God the best of your flock. And this are those that are under our teaching. We don't teach people to go wrong, to not properly obey the commandments and the law. We teach them the correct law. We teach them the correct statutes. We teach them who God really is and the truth, because this makes them without blemish before the Lord. And we don't offer those things that have a blemish. There be found in the midst of you, with any of your gates, which the Lord your God, verse 2, gives you, man or a woman that doth that which is evil in the sight of the Lord your God, in transgressing his covenant, that hath gone and served other gods, and worshipped them, the sun and the moon, or any of the host of heaven, which I commanded you not. God, once again, is telling us, and we went over this in an earlier chapter, that if we find those that are worshiping strange gods in the midst of us, that we are to come against them, take hold of them. We bring them to the gates before all the elders, and we tell the truth to them. And what this truth does is this truth drives the evilness out, the teaching this false god out of them. Under this understanding, they basically die spiritually, and with any hope, any grace from God, they would be turning from their sin. They would be turning from this transgression, and they would live. Of course, back then, they would take them out to the gates, and here they would stone them to death. As we will find in verse 6, it says, at the mouth of 2 witnesses, 3 witnesses shall they be put to death. At the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. And the hand of the witnesses shall be the first upon him. And afterward the hand of the people, so shall they be put away the evil from the midst of you. So in verse 5, then shall you bring forth the man and the woman who have done this evil thing unto your gates, even the man and the woman. You shall stone them with stones that they die. We don't do this today, but this was what they did back then, to show you how serious this matter was unto God. This matter of idolatry, this matter of worshiping these false gods. And this was a great evil and a great abomination, and God was trying to drive it out. Today, we only have to speak the truth, and the truth does our work for us. God goes before us and does these things, drives this evil out before us. And you shall come unto the priests, the Levites, if there's a matter that's too hard, see, verse 8, if there's a matter that's too hard for you in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, even in matters of controversy within your gates, then you shall arise and go you up into the place which the Lord your God shall choose. We covered this in an earlier chapter too, and like I said, if there was a problem that was too hard, they would go and they would take it to the priest, and the priest would go before God with this matter, and God would render a righteous judgment. In verse 9, and you shall come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and you shall inquire, and they shall declare unto you the sentence of judgment. And it says in verse 10, you shall do according to the tenor of the sentence, and exactly what they said. Whatever they tell you, you will do exactly that. You won't turn from the left hand or the right. In verse 11, according to the law they teach you, and according to the judgment which they'll give you, you shall do, and you shall not turn aside from that sentence. Verse 12, but the man that does presumptuously, not hearkening to the priest that standeth the minister before the Lord your God, or unto the judge, even the man shall die. You shall exterminate the evil from Israel. Once again, God's showing you how serious this law is, how serious he takes it. They would take these people, they would kill them. Of course, today we do not have to do this. The Word of God does this for us. And all the people shall hear and fear, and do no more presumptuously, see. Because this would be the example when they seen this, how serious this law is carried out. This was the law of the land as we have the law of the land here today. They would fear, and they would hear about it, and they would not do this. They would do according to the law, see. 14, and when you're coming to the land which the Lord your God gives you, you shall possess it, and you shall dwell therein, and say, I will set a king over me, like all the other nations that are around us. Well, we're changing subjects, but God says now, when you come into the land of rest, and you're going to want a king, remember, this ain't even happened yet. This wouldn't happen for hundreds of years. And God's telling you the prophecy, this is going to happen, and you shall set your king over you. 15, the king that God chooses, see, one from among your brethren shall be your king, and you mayest not put a foreigner over you who is not your brother. The king had to be someone who was from amongst them, see. 16, only he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt to the end that he should multiply horses. For much as the Lord has said unto you, he shall henceforth return no more that way. 16's telling us now the king's not supposed to multiply a great army to himself, and he's not supposed to go out and make deals with other countries to make big armies to magnify and multiply these armies to himself, or to go to Egypt for this purpose, or out to other countries for this purpose. For God said, you shall henceforth return no more that way. This is not the way we're going to do anything. We're not going to go backwards to try to get help from those who oppressed us, who held us as bondsmen. Try to think we can go back and make friends with these. We're going to go forward, letting God do our work for us, letting God do our battles, letting God fight for us. 17, neither shall you multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away, neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And we're going to find out later that this is a major snare for a king, and that he's been appointed and chosen by him to be their leader, and he ain't supposed to multiply wives to himself, take a bunch of wives, that his heart be turned away, chasing possibly after these other gods that these women that he's married. We'll find later that this is the snare, and this is the trap that was used to snare the king and bring down the kingdom. Neither shall he multiply into himself silver and gold. Why? That he be lifted up in his haughtiness. And they think that he's better than everybody else because he's rich and powerful. So we shouldn't choose a very wealthy man to lead us, because he won't understand the poverty of the poor. He doesn't consider the poor. He'll make his friends with the rich, and there shall he prosper those who are his friends. So we should choose wisely when we choose a leader, making sure that this leader fits the bill that God, and is going to do that which God has proposed that he do. And he shall be, when he sits upon his throne, 18, in his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book, out of that which before the priests and the Levites. He should make him a copy of this book of Deuteronomy, see, and keep it right there beside him in verse 19. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of the law, and these statutes to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brothers, and that he turn not aside from the commandment, to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in the kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. So he's supposed to keep a copy of this book, the law of God, right beside him, and so he can read out of it all the days of his life and learn to fear the Lord his God. Learn to follow these words and these law and these statutes, to do them, to make sure he is leading his nation in the correct path, in the correct understanding. And also to keep his heart from being lifted up above his brethren in verse 20, to keep him from thinking he's better than everybody else, see, that he don't have to do the words of God, that he's been made the king and he's the chief and commander. Well, it doesn't work that way. When you're made the king, you become the least in the kingdom. You're not the greatest. You've become the least. See? You're the guinea pig. You're the one everybody chose, so if we have a problem, you're going to be the one to deal with it. That doesn't make you the most important one. The most important people are the ones who chose you. Okay. He should keep these commandments, see, and turn not from one side to the other, left or to the right, to the end that his days may be prolonged in his kingdom. See, that he should have a great kingdom, that he should enjoy the kingdom God give him. And of course this chapter mostly just dealt with the laws that we've pretty much already covered. And we'll be moving on. Chapter 18.